Clone Troopers. What a hallmark of LEGO Star Wars. Now, LEGO Clone Troopers have been around almost as long as LEGO Star Wars, a near 20 years. And since they came out back in 2002, they have changed so very much, and there have been so many different variations. And today, I am going to be explaining how Clone Troopers in LEGO work. Now, there is a huge, weird system that goes on around based off of the years and designs of Clone Troopers that come out, and I want to discuss all of them. So you'll hear terms like Realistic Phase 2, 2020 style, OGP2, all these different titles and designs, and I want to cover them all. Before we get into that, I'm going to ask you all, please do subscribe and hit the bell, as well as check out my merch store, where we are selling these right now, because as of recording this, I have the Rona, and yeah, let's get into it. So, first off, we're going all the way back to 2002, with the OGP1 clone variant. Now, the reason these are original Phase 1 clone variant. Now, these are Phase 1 clone troopers, and the reason these guys are so different is, other than them being the first clones, they have a hole in their helmet. They are the original Phase 1 clone. Now, these guys came out in a variety of sets, and there was only ever one version of them. The only version we ever got was back in, again, 2002. Now, you never got them in, like, shock trooper designs or sergeants or anything like that. They only came in white. That was the only version they came in, which is why they're not that interesting. But they were the first clones. They were the original. But yeah. Now, that was the main clone trooper we knew all the way up until 2005. So, 3 years later. In 2005, that is when we got the OGP2 clones. Well, now, back then they weren't OG, but they were new. They are old to us now. The OGP2 clones are the classics. These guys you'll see in the LEGO Star Wars video games. You'll see them pretty much everywhere, and they are super cool. They came in the first clone battle pack. You got the plain Phase 2 Trooper. You got the Shock Trooper in this design. You got the 327th Trooper in this design. We've even gotten other variants like the 442nd or Recon Trooper in these designs. And this is even where it starts to branch off. There starts to be these weird little segments. Like, you'll have the Scout Trooper version where it'll have the same armor print, but it'll have a different helmet piece, say. So, the Kashyyyk 41st Scout Trooper will be, like, in this category. That guy's pretty classic. You know, they'll get into further designs where, you know, certain things fall in different categories, and I'll try to explain those best. But again, OGP2, Original Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Now we move into 2008 style Clone Troopers. So these are the AP1s. Now they are called AP1s because they are the animated Phase 1 Clone Troopers. So animated Clone Troopers from the Clone Wars, and this is from early on in the Clone Wars. These lasted from about 2008 to 2011 is probably a better estimate. But anyway, these guys first came out in the Clone Troopers Battle Pack, which is an absolutely amazing battle pack, by the way. I own one. And yeah, so these guys came in the 2008 style. They are known for having a very creepy head. Well, the other clones, all that came before, came with a black head. These guys came with a head print, but it was kind of satanic looking. Now, the cool thing about these is this is where customization could really start to come in. You could have visors. They gave you even these waist commas. They also gave you, the side commas or pauldrons or whatever you call them. You could even plug things into the helmet. And this is where, like, more cool variants started coming in. In this design, we've gotten troopers like Commander Wolf, we got Captain Rex, we got Commander Cody, we even got Wolfpack troopers, which is really cool. And we even got more than that. I obviously won't cover them all, but that is essentially what an animated Phase 1 Clone Trooper looks like. Now we're going to move to 2013, where we go to the animated Phase 2 Clone Trooper armors. So these are going to be called AP2s, animated Phase 2s. Now this is because they are still in the Clone Wars style, but they are Clone Wars style Phase 2. So there's like another style which we'll talk about later. So these will consist of, say, the original 501st Trooper, or the original 212th Trooper, and even the original Wolfpack Trooper. Now, these are some of the most liked, not my personal favorite, but I could understand why someone would seriously like these. The 501st Trooper, he came out in a set with, I believe, Yoda, the 501st ATRT. We got the 12th Trooper, that came with a set with Ahsoka in the Umbaran Cannon. That one was pretty neat. And even, there was also the one that came with the Wolfpack Troopers, which was an AV7. Now, I believe we've even gotten these guys in another variant, and the biggest one that is the biggest, diversion from the rest of them, because it's kind of a weird situation, but that would be Captain Rex Phase 2 variant, which is worth $200, by the way. And the rarest clone trooper, probably by far nowadays, because at least it's the most expensive, other than maybe the Shadow ARF Trooper, which, by the way, is another variant and set aside from the 2008 versions of clones. But yes, So the only real, side type version of these animated troopers would be the ARC Trooper minifigure. So he'd be like, in this category of figure, but he is not like just strictly an animated Phase 2 Trooper, and he's ARC animated P2. Would be what his category is. So him and Brix are kind of in the same boat. Now next up, we are going to move into 2013 with the realistic style Phase 1 Clone Trooper. So these are going to often be referred to as RP1s. So these guys came out in 2013, came out in the Republic Gunship. You know them, they came in their variants from the Clone Sergeants to the Clone Captains, which I think we're getting one this year, as well as just the plain Clone Troopers. Some of them came with leg printing, some of them didn't. It really depends when they came out. They are, as far as I know, still running in production. That could change with new figures coming out in the Republic Gunship this year, so that'll determine what the new Clone Captain in the Gunship looks like, depending on how his torso comes out. You can kind of be a hybrid, which we do have one of in this list. Now, next up, the best by far, the best design of Clone Trooper by far ever to be made is the realistic Phase 2 Clone Armors in 2014. Now, these are known as the RP2s. Now, these guys are such as the plain Phase 2 Clone Trooper, like my guy Gary in my Clone Trader series, as well as other ones you like, the two 12th Troopers that you know and love, as well as even, as well as the Commander Neo Troopers, and loads of others. They are absolutely great. And in this side series, there are loads of different variants. Obviously we did get normal ones like, say, Commander Gree, which I believe is the only commander of this wave. And we also even got those heavy troopers that came in Ayla Secura's tank. But I think the cool ones that are in this line are the ones like the Airborne Troopers or the, 41st Scout Troopers, because they've still, donned the same armor and were in, the same category, but they have these different really cool helmets, which I absolutely love, and I think they're great. Now, next up is a very cool one, and this is the most recent one, and this is the 2020 style Clone Trooper. Now, they're kind of a hybrid of animated style and realistic style, kind of mushed into one from what I could tell. There's good parts about them, like they do have toe printing. There's bad parts about them, like their arms are not solid colors, which while it may be accurate, doesn't look 100% right. But these guys do have their benefits and drawbacks, such as their head print being finally such as their head color finally being a different, head color that looks accurate to what Clone Trooper should look like, and it looks fantastic. And that is obviously the main one. As well as, I just like these guys. Now, we got them in a 501st variant. We got them in a 332nd variant. We got them in an Airborne variant. And then we go to our little weird hybrid trooper. This is the Clone Trooper that came out in General Grievous's, this is the one that came out in General Grievous's ship. This guy was pretty cool. Now, this is the Airborne Trooper. Sadly, not a Phase 2 Cody. The Airborne Trooper did come with a few things. He came with a 2014 style helmet, but with a 2020 style body and headpiece, which makes him kind of a hybrid clone. It's kind of a weird position. I don't know if you should just call him 2020 style, because technically that helmet isn't exclusive to the 2014 style, although print kind of is. If I'm confusing you, don't worry about it too much. It's not that big of a deal. Now, with that said, I would seriously like to know what you guys think of this, because I find it quite an interesting thing. It's very complicated, but, if you get down the basics, like knowing OGP1, OGP2, RP2, RP1, those things, you kind of got it down. It's just so that way you guys know when you hear these terms used, that's what they mean. It's very complicated, and there are so many. And chances are there's only going to be more, especially with the new gunship coming out. But I have a feeling, these clones are always going to be evolving, and we're just going to have to wait and see what LEGO does with them in the future. Now, there's also been a serious debate over whether LEGO is going to really have many more clones after this, because, why would they? Clone Wars is over, not looking very good. We're getting one Bad Batch set, and, that could change everything. That could add another category, could not. We'll really see. I'm looking forward to it, however. I cannot wait to see Bad Batch. Should be great. Maybe we will get some new Clone Troopers from that show. With that said, I'm again going to ask you all to please subscribe. I will see you all in the next one. Remember, peace out and stay awesome.